Okay, video number 2. This one I'm going to go through maps and charts. It's actually going to be very basic because these are very incomplete. No one's played the game yet, to my knowledge, to be able to add more things. This is an example of the kind of charts you can use, basically. It shows how do I chart this? What kind of a system do I use when I draw this? This is the grid system I'm using. When I'm making a universe map to show where maps, where things are in the universe, this explains it. When I'm doing a spatial map, there's the planet, there's a sun. Well, what do I mean by these degrees? How do I gauge that? Here's an example. That was a tutorial of how to read the book, so you do have that. You have a picture of the universe proper, showing again where all the worlds are. These are the dark matter runs. To get to the 9 verse for a long time, that's how you get there. You go through the dark matter runs once your ship can survive it. And then you get to the 9 verse, which is this universe. The lore is basically this universe came first through a rather cataclysmic explosion on planet Kelm T. Through their empire that they had created with these 3 worlds, they created a mirror universe, which our main heroes, the main hero, first was born into. That was the universe proper. A lot of these, therefore, are the same, but in this original universe, well, Gianni homeworld is gone. It destroyed. There's a singularity where the DR homeworld is, so there is no DR homeworld. There just isn't. There's Chovelin, though. You still have that world. You have some of the other universes, other worlds, too. You technically have Kelmut, but it's not a populated Kelmut. It's just a planet. Raiders live on it. You have Ashtar. Again, it's just a raider planet. But there was no cataclysm over here that happened here that created Calaxios. So in this original universe, there is no Calaxios. There's no water world. But then again, this one that created the mirror universe destroyed the Laxiot GE. This universe proper, never had that one. So in this world, Laxiot is its own altogether world. So there's differences, but there are similarities. Chovelin are generally the same. They evolved much the same in each universe. There are slight differences. We'll get to that in a bit. People generally survived. Apels did not really... The nanites created them. They helped revive and keep them alive and make them what they are. So there isn't really an Apels in the original universe. This world is different in the 9 verse because in the 9 verse there was no cataclysm that sent this rogue planet off into nothing. So the 85s did not de-evolve. They remained what they are. You can go to the 85 homeworld in the 9 verse, and it's a regular world. It's very militarized. It's not easy to break into. In this one, though, the 85s, they were destroyed when Apels knocked into them. Sent them flying off like a pool ball. Hence, they became a rogue world. The lore is all in the game. When you play the quests and campaigns, you learn all this. There's a whole lot of lore to all these things. Yeah. And actually, technically, well, there isn't an Apels, sorry. There isn't Apels, and it's another warring faction. Calaxios. Again, how this one is set up. Picture of the planets. Picture of the solar system. Technically, this is Ashtar, not a sun. It just shows that it's rotating around. This is an important thing. Here's a map of how this part of the world is set up. This is how the map is used. This square is where this map is. So this place is right there on this world map. This square right here is underwater, isn't it? Internal air pressure, sleeping, feeding, it's underwater. This is at the very core of their world. Their world has a core which is run by machines. It is a DNA making thing. Therefore, no one really lives down here. They live on these outer reaches away from it because someone's got to do something, right? Most of them live more in the middle part away from it, and they live on the surface. But technically the core, and I do have a smaller portion that shows the whole thing, there's the actual core. At one point people did live there, so there are some halls. It's just really, no one lives there much anymore. And I don't show a small portion. You're kidding me, wow. I remember drawing one. It's been a long time, obviously, since I looked at this book. Anyway, no one much lives there anymore. But so there are halls, it's just not really explored. If you want to get down there and learn their secrets, though, you're going to have to. This shows a water, an ice sheet, and then something on the surface. Kelmut. Again, planet system, the way the world is set up. This is the map. Here's where this is. Shows you, it's mainly military installations. If you're going to attack it, this is one idea of how you can draw maps when you're playing the game. By all means, make your own maps. Send them in. I would love to make a book of player maps. That is awesome. You might have a better way of drawing it. This is how I've drawn it. Basically, from playing, I think half an hour of a D&D game, and then just looking at other maps and thinking, hey, that's a cool way of doing it. These are underground maps and installation. There's mines, there's tunneling that goes on, there's some underwater. If there's no square up here, it means it's underground or underwater. You otherwise will be told exactly where it is, and these are all designed for you to actually get an idea of how you can do your own. These are Laxiate. These are all floating platforms that they live on. There are some that swim around and defend the inside of their world. And I do have, like there's an example of their topside living, and they have some underground antennas and water collecting facilities. This is the world. This is floating around. They got mobile launchers that float around and attack anything that attacks them. Basically, you know, they defend. And this is where they used to hide all their loot when they were pirates. They used to hide it all on the inside of their world. Now they don't really do it anymore. Well, that they admit to. They're far from innocent. This book is actually rather thin because really no players are submitting anything yet. But it shows you an idea of what the world looks like. This is the 85's world. It's tunneled all the way through the middle. They don't know quite what this is for. It's either a defensive weapon or some kind of a tool of some sort. It's an energy displacement tool of some sort that funnels through their world. More than that, they're not sure. And this is the book on maps and quests. Maps and charts, sorry, for the Mountain of Doom. Beacon of Doom. It's been a long day, sorry. I'll sign off from this video now.